he doesn't.
Not true. You go to get this broad on my phone. I'll unmask her as a phony if she's.
She's not a phony.
How do you know so much? How do you know so much? Stop it! How do you know so much about her?
Because I know something about the field. That's why.
Oh, really? What do you know about the field? What's your expertise, Joe?
My expertise is not in that field, but I know something.
Oh, you know something about the field, but you have no expertise. What is it that you? What is your knowledge of Doctor? Would you
an expert in that field?
Would you listen to me? Hey, now you want to tell me that there is evidence that people who have the compulsion to kill little children can be cured, and she has said that?
I didn't say that. I said don't put all sex offenders in that category. That's what I'm saying.
But all right. So she stopped exhibitionists from dropping their pants. Is that what she did?
She stopped sex offenders from whatever type of sex. If they had an aberrant behavior, we'll say that if they wanted to be an exhibitionist, or even further, if they were a child molester, they were going
child molester. She's cured child molester. Well, we want her to be interviewed because she really is unusual. Here they come out of Vacaville, California, where they have been attempting to treat sex offenders for years, the largest known such facility, and they are forced to admit you cannot cure these people, and you say this broad comes along and has only a 3% recidivism rate? Get off my phone, for heaven's sake. I wonder why this guy's so interested in trying to have us believe that they're cured. I'd be very suspicious of this guy. Hey, if Joe Fairlawn moves in next door, move out. People, don't tell me that guns shoot themselves. People shoot guns. So here you have Janet Ladica, Reno, saying she's glad about the gun ban, as though somehow or other miraculously that's going to change the conduct of people. But that's the liberal pose. I won't even say mentality, because in their heart of hearts they can't really believe it. That inanimate objects are the cause of our problems, not people. It's people, Janet Ladica, it's people. The scum that you cater to, the scum you come from, the type of scum you are. You're saying you're from Brooklyn.
I didn't say I was from Brooklyn.
Oh,
no, I did not say I was from Brooklyn.
This is the original Carl from Manhattan. Now you've gone back to using Carl from Manhattan.
Well, can I explain something, please, before you hang up? I know I don't have that much time.
You said please. Okay. In that case, you may.
Okay, very good. Do you remember when the governor's race in New Jersey was going on and the mayoral race in New York City was going on, and you were screening out callers on your own? Do you remember that?
What do you mean?
You want me to tell? I'll tell you exactly what I
don't know what you mean by screening out callers on my own.
Well, excuse me. What you were doing, you were saying I called before as Carl of Manhattan, and what you would do was you'd mash the button to put me on, and then you'd say, Carl's not here. Now, I know you remember that, don't you?
Absolutely not. This is absurd. Absolutely absurd.
So, are you calling me a liar?
I'm calling you more than that. I'm calling you a scumbag liar. How does that grab you?
It's a fact. That is a fact, and that's what you were doing, and that's why I changed my name to talk to you. Now you laugh. That's funny to you, right?
You know how you expose yourself as being absolutely ridiculous?
Oh, not. Yeah.
You have called many times.
You've become comedic, really.
You have called many times
comedic
since the election. You've called many times since the election.
Right, and that's why I had to change my name.
Now you cut it out. That isn't why you had to change your name.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable is right. Why did you use different names each time you would call?
I just explained why to you. Because that's what you were doing during the elections.
No, that doesn't make sense. A mere name is not going to get a person thrown off.
Sir,
you didn't get thrown off because of your views or even because of your name. You got thrown off because of your lying deception. That's why.
Well, what did I lie about, sir?
Well, you lied about many things.
Like what? Well, name one.
Well, name one. I don't have the time to name all the things.
Well,
But I let you on. I forgot about all the... You want to be persona non grata?
Oh, my goodness.
Wait, Carl, do you want to be persona non grata again?
Sir, listen to me.
No, wait a minute. Do you want to be...
If you're not going to let me speak my views... No, I don't want to be persona non grata.
Okay, all right.
If you're not going to let me speak my views or tell the truth, then what's the sense in calling? I'm telling you what happened. I know this for a fact. This is what you think.
Well, you don't know it. You suspect it. There's a big difference in suspecting and knowing.
You're incredible.
Give him a DNA test.
Incredible.
I think you're very wise to point that out, not to be fooled. Just like the sfaccimm in Albany coming up with his statement, he wants to cut the clothing tax.
Right.
He wants to cut taxes in his fourth term. He's a liar. He's a fake. He's a phony. He's a fraud. And if people can't see through him by this time, we deserve no mercy.
About this crime bill, I'm very disappointed with this whole thing. I think it's a big joke, and I'm very dissatisfied with with Mr. Clinton. Number 3 is, what is a sfaccimm?
A lowlife, a heel, a jerk.
I just started listening to your show, and I have to say that I really love your show.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us, Jay.
One more thing, Bob. Bob?
Yes?
What is the ba-ba-booey?
Never heard of it. I knew he was up to no good with that. Hey, wait a minute, Bob. I knew that last thing was you could just tell, right? I can anyway. I knew he was up to no good. How pathetic.
The way I feel about our guns being taken away from us. Looking at an article...
May I interrupt you for just a moment? You say guns taken away from us.
Yes, Mr. Grant.
Do you mean literally that you have guns that are being taken away from you?
Well, maybe I should restate that. In the end result of this, with the assault ban, weapons ban, what we're looking at is that their end goal of this administration is to take our guns.
What guns do you have?
Well, I have a few handguns. I have a 38, a 45, and
are they licensed?
Yes, they are.
And you really believe somebody's going to come in your house and take them away from you?
If they had their way, yes, Mr. Grant.
Who's they?
Oh, this administration.
If they have their way. So, how do they have their way?
Well, what I'm looking at is an article in the American Rifleman.
Of course, you're reading the American Rifleman, which is a propaganda sheet, strident, shrill, hysterical, and you believe everything they write in there.
No, Mr. Grant, but I do believe that I used to work in Washington D.C. and I was kind of an outcast among the liberals there.
What do you mean you used to work in Washington D.C. and you were kind of an outcast? What do you mean by that?
Well, if I could just say that I used to work with ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern, ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern.
I knew you were a fake and a phony. I knew it. I knew the guy was a fake and a phony. It's pathetic with this. With these stooges for Stern. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
I tuned into your show about a half an hour ago. First of all, I want to say people are complaining about the Cuban crisis and the Haitians and all of that. I understand what they're saying because I feel like there's too many people coming in too. But at the same time, it seems like the American borders are wide open and ain't nobody stopping these people from coming, you know? Everybody just coming in left and right. Rather it be the Haitians, Jews, or anybody. Everybody's just walking right in.
You said Jews? You know, you're a fake and a phony.
Okay, excuse me. I'm sorry I said that then. All right.
You just put him as... Where are you from, by the way, with that stupid, dumb accent? Where are you from?
I'm from the Bronx, Mr. Grant.
I mean, prior to your arrival up there in that godforsaken borough, where are you from?
I was born here in New York.
You were?
Yes,
what, did
sir.
they drop you on your face at birth? You could hardly talk. Somebody hit you with a board on the lips? What happened to you?
I'm sorry I said Jews then. Okay? Mr. Grant, look.
You're a fake and a phony, that's what you are.
Listen, look, it's about...
I can't stand to hear your stupid voice. Zoom, got it, zoom. Here's a guy, get a load of this. Light, hello.
How you doing, Mr. Grant? First of all, Mr. Grant, I would like to say to the young man, Mike, who called, who is losing incentive to work because he believes that his tax dollars is going to pay for some black people in Patterson. I think he's an idiot. I think he's a bum and don't want to work. And I would like to tell him that black people pay $70 billion a year in taxes. For 30 million of us, you know, so we can pay for our own...
30 million of you? Get off of that stupid. How idiotic. 30. I pay all of that taxes. He pays nothing. John, you're on WAB. I'm not going to cater to any black racist scum like Light. Hello.
I would like to shed some light. I think I can get part of it as to why these so-called intellectuals, such as Peter Jennings and those people.
Peter Jennings is no intellectual. He reads a teleprompter. Remember? No, seriously. I'm not. He's a nice-looking man. He has a good presentation. He doesn't even have a college degree. Not that means anything one way or another. But so don't call Peter Jennings an intellectual.
Okay. Well,
he tries to sound like it because he has a little pompous air about him, and people sometimes mistake pomposity for intellectual ability.
Well, which brings me to my point. I believe that a lot of the problems we have in this country stem from our...
Why doesn't he go back to Canada, as a matter of fact?
Excuse me?
No, I was just thinking out loud about Jennings. Why doesn't he go back to Canada?
Okay. And on the nightly news, they announced that a brand of heroin sold on the Lower East Side is leading the dope fiends to leave this mortal coil. But the police department is giving a warning not to go to this specific corner on the Lower East Side.
Isn't that idiotic? I would tell them, hey, y'all go. It's really stupid. The more that croak, the better for us.
You know, in 2 years from now, Attorney General Ladaika is probably going to give political asylum to junkies from other countries. And the social engineers will start calling them people of junk, and that we must have compassion for them. And you know, Bob, this is really the beginning of the end. Thank you.
Thank you. But sometimes police do things that really make no sense. What are they warning these heroin addicts away? They should just not say a word. The more... Look, I proposed years ago some very controversial policies. They were controversial because they would have accomplished stated goals. We have some stated goals, don't we? We want to reduce illegitimacy and welfare and crime. And, of course, one policy I had advanced was the mandatory sterilization program. We've talked about that from time to time. The other policy, which hasn't received as much publicity, was that we have what is called the hot load program. And what we would do is open up places where these junkies who also commit all these crimes, you know, breaking into buildings, mugging, killing to get their money for the fix, we would say, hey, look, we're going to give you, what is it you take? Heroin? Okay. What is it you take? Cocaine? Okay. We're going to let you take a... Oh, you mainline? All right, here, you take a needle. Here's your hypodermic. But before you do, we want to tell you, every other load or every third load or every fourth load or every fifth load is a hot load. So you're taking a chance. They know they're taking a chance anyway. And in due course, we would drastically reduce the number of predators out there. Isn't that the objective? To reduce the number of predators out there? To reduce the drain on you innocent, law-abiding, decent citizens? The Constitution tells the Congress that they are supposed to look out for the tranquility of domestic America. It's in the Constitution. I didn't put it there. It's there. Are you tranquil? How could you be? How could you be with a soaring illegitimacy rate? How could you be with a soaring crime rate? How could you be with dope addicts all around? How could you be with these fiends, these predators? How could you be? Well, Bob Grant comes along and he says, wait a minute, instead of just talking about imagined solutions, Band-Aid solutions, meaningless, feel-good solutions, let's talk about real solutions. And the minute you do that, they say, ooh, my, ooh. Ooh. Politicians who poked me in the ribs over the years say, hey, Bob, you're right, but I'd get killed if I said that. They mean at the polls, of course.
I think you're exaggerating and overreacting to these Cubans. A lot of good Cubans of European blood. And I have a cousin, a brother-in-law, Toro Gonzalez, who's an attorney from Harvard, from Columbia Law School. And I had to overcome a lot of prejudice. And
you haven't overcome any prejudice because you said a lot of good Cubans with good European blood. That means that if a Cuban doesn't have European blood, you don't care about him.
No,
huh?
That's not true.
Well, then why did you even say that? Why did you reveal yourself? Why did you say that, revealing what you really are? And, of course, I know what you really are because of that stupid manner of speaking, which is real vintage greaseball talk.
I'm Calabrian-American, and
you are Calabrian-American.
I support
Please,
Cuomo.
don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say you're Calabrian, please. My mother's Calabrian. I don't want to hear that.
They shouldn't be in jail.
Oh, get off my phone. There's nothing more pathetic than a Gabon trying to sound like he's an intellectual. All right. It came out of Sinn Féin. I don't know why the heck you want to credit these bums.
No, because I tell you, I've been up. My parents have immigrated from the west of Ireland, but I've been to Falls Road. I've been to West Belfast, and I saw Gerry Adams speak at the Sheraton last February, and that 48-hour window really gave him an opportunity to hear the Northern Irish Catholic, struggle, and we know that Adams never would have gotten a visa, in a prior administration. Yet I've never voted for a Democrat in my life, so I had a real quandary.
Well, I don't know why you're crediting Adams' visit. Am I missing something here, or are you just guilty of reading something in?
Now, Adams' visit had really given the chance to hear.
Why? How did Adams coming here lead? What did you do? Did you read it in Jim Dwyer's column in the
No, I don't read
in Newsday? Well, where are you getting this idea?
This is formed in my own head.
Okay, all right.
Knowledgeable about the concept.
All right, okay.
And I think
now that you've told me that it was formed in your own head, we can dismiss it for what it is. Thank you. I hope you get better. Take a couple of aspirin, lie down, a few cold packs on the forehead. You'll get rid of that fever, you dummy. REO, named after the automobile, the Reo.
The Reo?
1916 vintage. REO, the Reo.
Outstanding.
All right.
I will be there, sir, and I will not try to make it. I will be there.
You want to know something? I know you will. I can tell. Yeah.
It's been my pleasure for about since 1976.
All right.
To you 10, 15 minutes every day.
Okay, I'll see you, Sonny.
Say yes, sir.
Yeah, he'll be there. I love Sonny. You know why? Because he says, I'll be there, instead of these fake, phony frauds who say, well, I'll try to make it. Hey, look, be a mensch. Have kujones. Either say, I'll be there, or say, I won't be able to make it. I'm not going to get mad at you if you say you won't be able to make it, but don't give me the baloney about, well, I'll try to make it.
What your listeners
no, that isn't the case. No, if I wanted to
accommodate...
If I wanted to, first of all, it's not the listeners, it's the callers. You don't hear listeners, you hear callers.
Well, I'm very...
Okay?
Well, right now, I really do not feel very good because after what I've heard,
Well, it's too bad. Don't listen then. If you're so damn sensitive, don't listen.
Well, because I've heard you many a time say positive things about Cubans, and these people are saying these negative things, and you don't say anything.
You bet I'm negative. I'm negative. Again, do I have to repeat? We shouldn't be picking them up. What's that got to do with you?
I agree.
Okay, well then what is there to argue about?
Well, it's just that it seems like, you're not defending the image that you know.
You know what? You're not making sense now. You should have quit while you were ahead. Thank you, Daniel. Good luck, Daniel. Daniel turned out to be a dope after all. Oh, well, what are you going to do?
Looking kind of weak with his part.
Why are they looking weak?
Pardon?
Why do you say they're looking kind of weak?
Well, Major's been criticized by his own parliament, that he hasn't...
No, why do you say he's looking weak? I mean, what...
I think he should take a stronger stance. It looks like the IRA is...
A stronger stand?
Against the IRA, yes.
Well, if the IRA says they're suspending 25 years of terror, if they're not going to continue this mayhem, what is he supposed to do? Tell him to drop dead? I think he should react in a positive way, and he has.
Well, I think he should stern ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern, Howard.
The guy's sick and getting sicker. It's pathetic out there, pathetic. Did we get all that cut, I hope? Because if we get it cut, it will discourage... We get it cut? Okay.
Turn on my radio, and I can't believe that you're talking about sterilization of women.
Not all women.
Well, then how do you plan on choosing?
I'm talking about people who are on welfare.
And because they're on welfare,
hey, listen, don't act so shocked. Don't be frightened. It's never going to happen.
Well, thank God
so you
for
can
that.
Thank God, my foot. You like the fact that all these illegitimate Children are born only to drain you of tax dollars on the AFDC program, only to turn into what this Robert Sandiford turned into, a monster killing people. Is there any reason why we should allow children to have children? Does that make sense, you dummy? I'm getting very nervous about Rudy, very nervous. If he endorses the sfaccimm, that'll really be a big blow to me personally. It won't mean that sfaccimm will get in, but I will be so disappointed in Rudy. And I probably will never work for a politician again, because maybe you just can't trust them. Probably because we are so sick in America today that it's easier to get that type of tough legislation than it would be to have just an in and across the board toughening. And don't forget, the Speaker of the Assembly is a limp-wristed, bleeding-heart liberal swine. You realize what you're saying? You're saying that their neighbor should invade them, subdue them, and take them over.
Well,
Haitian doesn't want to be a Dominican. They don't even speak the same language. They're not really completely of the same race.
I wasn't aware of that.
Thank you.
Okay.
They're dumb out there and getting dumber, but I guess that's why the Bob Grant Show must go on to at least provide a holding action between what we have now and total, complete, absolute ignorance. Yes, sir.
Listen, you keep complaining about you get a lot of cajones calling you, dumbbells calling you, and I thought of about 6 reasons why you should be happy they're calling you. Can I tell them to you?
Start now, and if you don't get it in before the news, we'll hold you over.
Okay, first of all, you get to sell these tacky T-shirts to these people.
Well, the Gabons came long before the T-shirts. You're out. The guy, I was hoping I'd get some instructive information there. I was hoping he'd tell me something I could use, but instead he comes up with a stupid statement. The T-shirts are only a recent occurrence within the last month. The Cubans have been going on for 24 years.
Got plenty to blame. Take a look. Reagan took $2 million from the Japanese.
Dear, why don't you, first of all, learn how to speak English. Secondly, don't call the program anyway, even if you do. You call every week with the same pathetic diatribe. Get your broom, get out there and sweep up the sidewalk there and the curb, will you, pal? All right, here's of thugs who had control of the military, with that exception, that the 6 million Haitians who loved Jean-Bertrand Aristide couldn't wait until he set foot on Haitian soil, couldn't wait until they could rid themselves of Monsieur Jennings and Monsieur Raoul Cedras, General Cedras, and the rest of the junta. And yet, guess what? Here, the American Army, the American military has landed in Port-au-Prince. They are allegedly in control, although quietly in control. And where is Aristide? You would have thought Aristide couldn't wait to set foot on his beloved Haiti, to kiss the Haitian soil, and to receive the plaudits, the affection of the people. And yet, this political fake, phony fraud is still in Washington, criticizing the operation. And he was given today, by the way, a 21-gun salute. 21-gun salute, of course, is afforded only to heads of state. If he were an ambassador or Secretary of State or something of that kind, he would get 19 guns, perhaps. 19-gun salute. 21-gun salute. What does this very strange, weird, Marxist individual, what does he have on Slick Willie? The answer? He has nothing on Slick Willie. It is the Congressional Black Caucus. It is Randall Robinson. It is William Gray. It is Kwasi Mpume. It is Charlie the Red Wrangle. People like that. They're the ones that have something on Slick Willie. And what is that? They've told him, you've got 37 votes that go as a block. You need those 37 votes in the House of Representatives. There's another member also, but that's Gary Franks, the one black Republican from Connecticut. And then, of course, the United States Senate, a travesty known as Mosley Braun. But they have told him in no uncertain terms, you need our votes. You want 37 votes, which can either make or break a bit of legislation? Then you'd better do what we want you to do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly that brutally simple. And in my effort to close the gap between what they do and what you know, I tell you, this is what has been happening to the Constitution of the United States, being held hostage. Because you have a craven amateur, a person who was a big man on campus, big fish in a little pond known as Arkansas, who cut all kinds of corners, who made all kinds of deals, who probably did many dishonest things that have yet to be firmly established, firmly proven. Between he and his wife, broke many, many rules and probably some laws. But anyway, here he is, by virtue of a series of aberrations, he has become the President of the United States. And we're in deep trouble because he still has 2 full years to go. The damage he's done in the first 2 years could be nothing compared to the damage he will do in the next 2 years. And that's why it's important that the Republicans take over at least one house of the United States Congress, at least one, probably, preferably both.
If your ratings go up and you want to take your services to some other radio station, if you can get it, they will pay you money.
I can't.
You're on a contract. Once your contract is up.
Hold it. I can't do that. I signed another contract with the station, and I can't. Let's say WXRK calls me tomorrow, which they have in the past, and they say, "Hey, what are you making over there? We'll pay you more." I can't go. I cannot go. I cannot get out of the contract.
Right. When your contract is up, though.
2001, right,
whenever
Charlie?
It's up. Whenever it's up, Bob.
Charlie, in the year...
Oh,
he keeps interrupting. I hate these cabons that slobber all over the telephone and ask me a question. I try to answer, and they keep yakking. I despise the players. How does that grab you? I'm for the owners and proud of it. Greg?
Backing Pataki or backing Cuomo. You know, I wish you and your other conservative cronies would get off of your soapbox already. The issue here is not Republican versus Democrat. The issue here is the right person for the job.
Oh, I thought one guy was a Republican and one guy was a Democrat. I didn't know that. I didn't know this was a nonpartisan campaign, Jim. I didn't know that it was a nonpartisan election. Nick, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hello, Robert.
I have no patience for a guy who says you and your conservative cronies. These are not my cronies calling any more than he's a crony, any more than you're a crony. What a jerk, my cronies.
What a gabon.
I mean, they're horrendous. The real reason why I called Bob was to rally everyone in the 9th Congressional District behind Peter Russo against ba-ba-booey my bitch Torricelli. I've got a few reasons, many reasons, why we should not vote for Torricelli.
Hey, you know, he's taping the show. He's going to listen to this and cry. He's going to cry. Little Bobby's going to cry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bobby, you little pussy. Bobby voted against NAFTA. Bobby voted with Slick Willie on every tax and spend increase. Bobby voted for the crime bill. Bobby Boy bounced 30 checks at the House Bank. Bobby Boy pocketed a quick $100K at the First Savings Bank of Jersey. Bobby Boy is anti-Bob Grant and anti-First Amendment. Bobby Boy wakes up with Mick Jagger leftovers.
Hey, listen, Frank, about that $100,000, go over that again, will you?
What was that?
You mentioned $100,000. Go over that one.
That is when Bobby was involved in that transaction of stock options, I believe it was, with the First Savings Bank of New Jersey.
Right, that's
where he pocketed money on the spread.
Well, that's it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Peter Russo, who is the candidate opposing him, is telling the voters about that or reminding the voters about that or not. I don't know. I haven't seen any literature.
Well, Pete's a good guy. He falls right in line with Chuck Katayan, and we're going all the way and then some in 94, Bob.
Rock steady. Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you, Bob. Bob, the lying rats and pigs of the left, not content with the fact that America's greatest victory is being celebrated, it burns them so much that they are feeding revisionist lies and propaganda using these agents in the media. They are doing this to sully the greatest victory in history when American democracy defeated Tojo and the rest of those buck-toothed thugs in Japan. What they're trying to say, and they're basing their work on a piece of propagandist garbage that is continually quoted in the media. The author is quoted in the media. I had to suffer through reading this crap in college. It's called Atomic Diplomacy by Gar Alperovitz. He said we dropped the bomb on Japan to intimidate Joseph Stalin. But history has proven what a propagandist liar he and the rest of them are. Pavel Sudoplatov's book, Special Task, written by a former head in the KGB of a special section of assassination, espionage, and terrorism, specifically states, and the book created a firestorm because it ripped away the lies that have been propagated for 50 years in the West, that the Soviet Union knew exactly how much plutonium the United States of America had when it dropped the bomb, and until 1955, because of useful idiots of the West like Robert Oppenheimer and Enrico Fermi and their ace spy Klaus Fuchs, Stalin knew how much plutonium we could produce, and on page 210 of the book, the author states specifically that is why he proceeded with an aggressive policy in Europe. And since that's been discredited, how the United States used the bomb to intimidate Stalin, and I don't know if you remember the documentary, The Garbage Meeting at Potsdam, where Truman tells how by dropping the bomb, he's intimidating Stalin. That's a lie. The day after the bomb was dropped, Joseph Stalin, who never declared war against the Japanese, used it as an excuse to seize the Kuril Islands illegally. He was in the war for one day, and look at what he got. And why are those who are now saying it's racist, how come they're not speaking about the 30 to 40 million Chinese who were brutally murdered by the Japanese in World War II? And had we fought a protracted war in Japan, millions more would have been brutally murdered by the Japanese. This is a sheer propagandist lie that they're using, that this was racist, because, Bob, it goes against all that they've been preaching. Here you had the United States of America, a Western nation being attacked by a non-Western, Asiatic, non-white people. Aren't we always taught how brutal and colonialist and imperialist the West are? And what happened? The most brutal people ever to treat the Asiatics were the Asians themselves. And in the book Special Tasks, the author writes how from day one, the Soviet Union controlled the anti-nuclear movement. He writes that they started out, he writes of Oppenheimer and Fermi, they started out as anti-fascists and they wound up working for us. When we talk about the brutality of World War II and the brutality and genocide of the atom bomb, think of all of those who would have still been dying on the Asian continent had the United States not stopped the war. Think of how Stalin had planned to seize northern Japan, while you would have had a North and South Japan as you have a North and South Korea. There was no reason why we should not have done it, and it was the best thing. And finally, when this character calls up and said they had secret papers that the Japanese wanted to surrender, this was a ruse that was being used by the Japanese government, just as Plutov writes in his book that the Soviet Union sent out fraudulent feelers to Hitler to divert them by saying they wanted to negotiate the peace with the Nazis. You know, Bob, it's not news. It's not news anymore, you're seeing. When they put a liar like Gar Alperovitz on, a man who's been discredited, to talk about the bombing of Hiroshima, what you are listening and reading is propaganda. And I only hope that there's a hockey strike, a basketball strike, and the baseball strike continues, because then maybe Americans will have to do something, like read a little book. Thank you.
All right. Frank of Queens, and that's so true. There were many organizations that were really fronts for communist groups, Freeze, Sane, a whole host of organizations. Biff, here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Biff, the one and only Biff. Yes, Biff.
Thanks, Bob. I've been really happy over the last couple of weeks that Jimmy Carter's face has been plastered all over the papers that you had to look at. But I have two quick comments. One, I actually believe you think Mario's going to lose. But on the other hand, just think what fun we'll all have if he wins, and you'll have to sit there and comment on it. My other point is...
Well, I tell you what, either way, I win. If he loses, then, of course, that means New York gets rid of an albatross and has a chance at regaining some financial health and gets better leadership. If he wins, that means I will be able to see more T-shirts being worn by more and more New Yorkers.
That's right.
So, he's been a great target, and I will enjoy continuing using him as a target, Bill.
Got snow on the roof. I'm a registered Republican, and I just want to tell not the Democrats, but just Republicans out there, that they should go to the post office if they're not registered, and they get a simple registration form, and hurry up. I don't know if it's too late yet, but check it out. And just in case anyone forgets...
October 14th is the deadline in New York. October 11th is the deadline in New Jersey.
Good, so they can contact either the Republican Club in the phone book or go right to the post office. They'll give them all the information they need so we can get rid of sfaccimm. And just so no one forgets whose name to put on the ballot there, we just want to say, George Pataki will cut our taxes, help us keep our homes. George Pataki will end our welfare, leave our kids alone. George Pataki will cut our taxes. Oh, and by the way, Mario Zendame, Giuliani Proviano Sfaccimm. He can run for his fourth term, but now the people we have learned when he comes to town. Here is what we say, Mario Zendame, Giuliani Proviano Sfaccimm. It's Mario. Time's up, Mario. George Pataki's coming in. Mario. Anyhow, Bob, that's all today.
Hey, you're all right, Marty.
We're going to keep...
From California was telling us how we have to stand behind the president on foreign policy issues. She was waving the flag and embracing the red, white, and blue, and we need to support Bill. And the question I had was, did Maxine Waters support President Bush in either Panama or the Gulf War? Or
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So she was a complete hypocrite then to say...
Of course, Maxine Waters, that's the nicest thing you could call her, is a hypocrite.
Well, it was great comedy to watch her talk about UN resolutions, and we need to support the Boutros Ghali and Bill Clinton. And, I mean, foreign policy never struck me as her forte, and I think she proved it last night.
Well, this is a totally anti-American racist of the worst kind. Thank you very much. WABC, let's try Paul checking in. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Bob. Paul from Valhalla. Believe it or not, I'm calling you from Orlando, long distance. That's how important I think this is.
Orlando, Florida?
Right. I'm calling from...
You have a serious problem, Paul.
I just want to see Mario get
Who's
out.
Who's paying for the call?
Me.
You do have a serious problem.
Anyway, we have to get Mario voted out, Bob. That's why I'm calling.
No kidding. We have to get Mario voted out. Gee, that's a novel thought.
And I'm happy to see that a lot of people have been requesting those dumb Cuomo bumper stickers that I'm giving out for...
oh, no wonder you're calling long distance. Very good.
So, Bob, if anybody wants, a lot of people request them.
Aren't you overdoing this, Paul? Aren't you overdoing this a bit?
Not really. I think,
Not really, huh? All right, go ahead. Give the address. We don't want you to run up too high a bill.
Thanks, Bob. P.O. Box 420, Valhalla, New York, 10595. We got to get rid of Mario. Thanks, Bob.
I can't believe the guy would call from Orlando, Florida. I can't believe it. But I do believe it. It's a Barnum and Bailey world. But Mal, you're on WABC. What's on your mind?
Second incident that occurred. I had accumulated some trash, and I was looking for a trash can while we were walking through the streets of London, and I couldn't find one. I walked over to a Bobby at Buckingham Palace, and I explained to him that, in New York, there's a trash can on virtually every corner, but the streets are filthy because the people don't seem to want to use them. Here, I can't find the trash can, and the street's clean. And he chuckled a little bit, but then he told me that the reason that there were no trash cans was because the IRA would use them as bomb receptacles. And that was one thing, but the other thing is, I truly mean it. It's a sad declaration, again, on us in New York City, the way we maintain our streets. And here they don't have trash receptacles, and I don't know what they do with it, but my goodness, the streets were beautiful. That's it, Bob.
That no other president in my memory was able to do in foreign affairs. He got the Reverend Jesse Jerkson to support the United States foreign policy position. It's an amazing accomplishment. First time in my memory.
First and last.
First and last, probably. And, of course, he picks a floating cesspool to agree with, but at least he accomplished that for whatever it's worth, which is probably nothing.
But even swine like Jackson or Jerkson will turn on Slick Willie because this whole thing is going to fall apart. It is falling apart. Americans look at television and they say, what are our boys doing there?
Absolutely.
What in heaven's name are they doing there? I mean, there are those people who asked that question beforehand,
right,
who could find no rationale for putting our boys there beforehand. But a lot of people are very gullible, and they say, well, maybe he must have a reason. Now they're saying, what is the reason? And guess what? The reason all goes back to what was reported last week. He wanted to do the bidding of the Congressional Black Caucus. It's that simple and that stupid and that horrible.
As the Reverend Jackson says, we will take the guns away from them one way or the other. Now, what does he mean by that? He would actually advocate violence? The Reverend? It's so unusual.
Well, violence as long as other people are dying and shedding blood, not him.
Right.
He's been able to go through life that way, having other people be his stooges, while he reaps the benefits and walks around wearing the $1,200 suits.
And the Jalebs line up behind him.
That's right.
Thank you.
Disagree with me here on this.
I can't believe my ears. I can't believe... Who dialed this telephone for you? How did you make this call? Anybody that talks the way you talk wouldn't have the intelligence to dial 201-489 WABC. Somebody must have dialed it for you. I cannot believe your utter, incredible stupidity. That's the only word that comes to mind. Absolute stupidity. Pathetic. Pathetic. You are absolutely pathetic. To think that the Smithsonian would politicize this display and try to make America appear like the villain in order to educate people as to the power of nuclear weapons is truly pathetic on your part. Pathetic. I hope you get well. Calls like that make me say, what am I still doing this program for? Why am I still doing this? Inertia, that's why. Inertia. I am a victim of inertia. Always have been, am now, and probably always will be. Adam, you're on WABC. Hello.
How you doing, Bob? Okay.
Responded to him, except that you sort of, I think you made a mistake when you said that there was nothing in recorded history.
No, I stand by my statement. These people were singled out. For example, Nazis went into Poland. They went into the capital, Warsaw. Did they decide to slaughter every citizen of Warsaw? No.
No, but
who did they pick? Who did they pick?
People too, though, Bob.
Who did they pick out?
Anybody who disagreed with them, but primarily the Jewish.
Okay, all right. Okay, thanks, Frank.
Did I say that, Mr.
No,
Grant?
thanks, Frank.
Mr.
Okay,
Grant,
I understand. I understand, Frank. I know. Okay, all right. You don't understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
But I understand what you're saying. Oh, you understand?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
Listen,
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready to take another little question from me? Another little disagreement that I have? Or am I not strong enough to talk to you?
Go right ahead. I'm in a very generous mood. Besides, I have only another half hour of this stupidity, so go ahead.
Okay, listen. Someone called up one of the...
Hey, listen, let me ask you this question. Then you can pay. Sure. Why did you begin your conversation by saying what a pleasure it was to talk to me, what an honor it was
to talk to you?
My foot. You were just trying to soften me up, you fake.
No.
No.
I spoke the ball.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Pleasure to me. I don't agree with you all.
I don't agree,
That's an interesting scenario. I certainly hope that it proves to be prophetic. But, you know, when you are dealing with a Machiavellian individual who is skilled by virtue of his nature and by virtue of his past practices, to be the most devious campaigner you could possibly want, it has to frighten you. And I do believe that we will end the regime of the sfaccimm, but I'm keeping my fingers and my toes crossed because I know how resourceful this lying, fake, phony, protean skunk is. Okay. It's just a game. You're playing a doggone game when you do that.
I'll tell you why not. Let's go back to the LA. Let's go back to the two cops at the LA before the LA riot. He had two guys filmed on videotape, okay? And people right away said, they're guilty, they're guilty. You see it on the tape, there's no excuse. And everybody, a lot of the people calling your station, as was I, who said, wait a minute, we're seeing a bit, we're seeing part of it, we don't know the full...
Yeah, but Freddie, you're comparing apples and oranges.
How am I?
In the case of one, it was police officers apprehending somebody. They did not kill him, by the way.
True.
And the question was, did they use too much force? Were they guilty of overdoing it, or were they doing their job properly? That was the question.
Right.
In this case, we have two people very much dead.
Absolutely.
And we have all this overwhelming evidence.
Well, it's one piece of
evidence. And, hey, look, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you, Freddie.
What's that?
Anytime you call any program, whether it's a Bob Grant show or some other program, you could say, well, he's got the presumption of innocence, so I presume he's innocent, but I want to... You can do that. I give you permission to continue playing a game.
Okay.
But I'm not going to play that game.
Okay, I have one question to throw, though, at you, if I may. With all the circumstantial evidence that's out there, the one place where there seems to be a lack of evidence is inside Simpson's house. All the blood, all of this, all of that, it wasn't in the house. I'm not saying that he isn't guilty.
You just want to be a contrarian. You're just trying you're just trying to be a contrarian.
No, just the opposite. The point.
My foot. You're just trying to impress somebody. I don't know what it is.
It doesn't affect you.
Okay, let me ask you this, Freddie. Let me ask you this, Freddie.
Yes.
Did anybody set himself up more than O.J. for doing this? Beating her up 9 times, telling her that he was going to kill her if she didn't cut it out? I mean, tell me, what the hell do you need? A house to fall on you? Get off my phone! Paul from Staten Island, what's on your mind?
Yeah,
I can't stand pretenders like that.
Wasn't he terrible? I mean,
well, he's a pretender. I mean, he couldn't possibly believe what he was saying. He's just putting an act on.
Obstructionists and the New York Daily News right now, when I say God bless the NYPD, the Transit Police, and the New York City Housing Police, I mean that very strongly. And the Daily News appears to be on their anti-police agenda once again. You know, a couple of days ago, they ran a story on lawsuits that resulted in monetary damages against police. And it made me think that the families of Police Officer Sean McDonald and Housing Police Officer Rudy Thomas won't see a dime from the mutants who gunned them down. And today the Daily News talks about what you addressed, the federal grand jury looking into the alleged police brutality once again against the inevitable black motorist. And this is during a 4-day anti-Jewish pogrom conducted by blacks in Crown Heights. But you know, Bob, they've got a witness once again, and I'm sure that this witness has the same level of credibility like Juana Madera and Irma Rodriguez, who lied about police officer Michael O'Keefe up in Washington Heights when he defended himself against that mutant drug dealer, Kiko Garcia. Then today's op-ed page in the Daily News has some greasy-looking weasel named Luis Francia talking about anti-Asian bias and lays it at the feet of police. Well, no mention is made that most bias attacks against Asians are perpetrated by blacks, and 9 Asian merchants were murdered by black thugs in Washington, D.C. alone in 1993. Now, Bob, I'm going to tell you, the Daily News is running these anti-police stories as a politically correct form of atonement for the feature they ran 2 weeks ago, where they showed us pictures of New York City's 101 most wanted fugitives. 100 of them were black and Hispanic. And on that day, Bob, the Daily News, New York's hometown newspaper, showed us the true complexion of our violent crime problem in this city and in this country. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, but you overlooked one thing.
What's that, sir?
They had a front page which was heralding what was inside, the 101 most wanted.
Correct.
And on the front page, they selected made sure that although the vast majority of the people inside were black, they made sure that they had a couple of non-black appearing individuals on the front. Did you notice that?
Natch, it must be some new federal quota that I'm unaware of.
Well, you noticed it. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Are you? You know, the sfaccimm in Albany, Mr. Cuomo, it's the height of hypocrisy and gall, this man. I mean, he wants to never have a death penalty by any means, whether it be by injection or by hanging or any means. And yet he wants to take away rifles from the hands of law-abiding citizens so that only criminals have them, and homeowners won't be able to protect themselves. So his hypocrisy is only exceeded by that of Ms. Hillary, whose vaginal fluids get increased every time she talks about gun control and every time she talks about every liberal program on the book. And I can only say, Bob, that she is a true student of her mentor, the illustrious Mr. Michael Lerner, who is the epitome of the self-hating Jew, of the Jewish anti-Semite who hates his own people. After all, she considers him to be her political guru. And let's not forget, when we're talking about self-hating Jews, that Rabin...
I knew that he was going to launch into that. This sickie, constantly attacking a great patriot like Yitzhak Rabin.
That great quotation he was giving Ronald Reagan about saying we paid for the Panama Canal and we bought it and we own it, I believe that is from Senator F.I. Hayakawa.
No, it isn't.
California.
It isn't. Believe me, it isn't. It's Ronald Reagan who said it. Hayakawa did not say that.
But you are saying to me that Hayakawa is not the one that I heard saying it?
I'm saying that, Charles. The answer is Ronald Reagan, during the Senate fight over the treaties arranging the transfer of the ownership of the Canal to Panama, he is the one who made that statement.
Okay, I'm kind of a history buff.
Yeah, my foot, you're a history buff. If you're such a history buff, how about the answer to the other three questions?
I don't want to touch those because I'm not...
Because you're a fake, a phony, and a fraud. I'm a history buff. Yeah, he's a history buff, all right. And Frank from Emerson, hello. Are you there, Frank? Or Rich? A team that is absolutely the luckiest team in the history of baseball. Hey, wouldn't it be delicious if there is a baseball strike for more reasons than one? Anyway, there will be the dumb ball game tomorrow. Every play, everything. It is hard. I'm sick of it.
There's a bad disease that's going around this country, and it's these people who are so-called baseball fans are turning into sheep. You hear them going into baseball stadiums. They're going, bah, bah, bah. And they take their two kids, the wife, whoever. They spend over $100 on food, souvenirs, and whatever, and they have a lovely time. And then again, they always complain, these baseball players are making so much money. But these sheep, they go in there, and the reason that these baseball players are making money is because the sheep are giving them the money. So there's this strike that's going on, there's a supposed strike that's going on that they're complaining about. And the fan this, it's very simple, Bob. Don't go to the games. It's very simple, but will the sheep not go to the game? Of course not. You know why? They're cavons. They're sheep. Bah, bah. I refuse to go to another ball game again. I'm a big Toronto Blue Jay fan. I would love to take my son to see the Sky Dome, but the way things are going now with baseball, I really have no interest. I've been more involved in the World Cup this past year than baseball. I watch a baseball game now when it's either the Mets, who I like, or the Yankees, who I can't stand.
I knew there was something about you I liked. Hey.
Bye-bye.
Boy, do we have a lot in common. He hates the Yankees, too. I despise them. In other words, you want socialized medicine over here.
Well, I'll tell you, if you could show me...
You want socialized medicine over here, right?
Well, I don't know how I can continue to pay this kind of money. And when people say that my children...
Well, who do you want to pay? Wait a minute, hold on a minute. Who do you want to pay for your medical bill? That's what I want to know.
I'd like my taxes, which is me.
Your taxes?
Medical.
Come on, cut it out. Be honest with yourself, for heaven's sake. You want other people's taxes to pay for your medical bills.
Alaska.
Yeah, okay. What a smug punk. Peter, this smug twerp from Queens. What a smug, arrogant guy. Alaska Bob, Alaska Bob. Bob, on this portion brought to you by the message to Mario? Why, of course.
Mario, ascendale to the proveros sfaccimm. And he is.
Hey, Cisco, let me say this.
Yeah.
That's one of the best renditions I've ever heard. That's fantastic.
After listening to everybody else, I said I have to do a better job than that.
I mean, my gosh, that's terrific. I hope you get a T-shirt, Mario.
Yeah.
I mean, Cisco.
Oh, and before I get off, I got to say one thing. It is high, it is far, and there is out. No more baseball. Hallelujah. More Bob Grant, less baseball. Bob?
Okay, thank you, Cisco.
Have a nice day.
Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. The fact of the matter is this was a $32 billion boondoggle, and it wouldn't have done one thing about crime, with the possible exception of the 20,000 police officers. Yes, I said 20, not 100,000, because it was a lie, a fake, phony lie from a fake, phony president. It wasn't going to be 100,000 police officers. So all these things, if you had analyzed all of this, Biff, you would have seen that it was a bill that never should have been proposed in the first place.
But we're not going to get 20,000 cops, and we're not going to get thousands and thousands of new prisons.
Well, we could do that with another bill that doesn't have all these phony gimmicks. Thank you, Biff. WABC.
Bill.
Well, that fellow Biff is very immature. He's very, very childish. That's one of the things I was trying to get across to him. If all the Democrats had voted for the bill, even if all Republicans had voted against the bill would have carried. Right. Because those skunk Democrats, unfortunately, do outnumber the Republicans.
Exactly.
So you're absolutely right.
So the fact of the matter is that, when we talk about bipartisan things, that this bill was defeated on a bipartisan basis.
Well, there were 50 Democrats who voted against it. Some voted against it for the right reasons, but the members of the Congressional Black Caucus who hate America, or at least hate white America, they voted against it for the wrong reason. Thank you very much, John.
When you do the show from your house, do you sit in your underwear?
From his car. Hello, Ed.
Bob, good afternoon. First, let me congratulate you. Unlike our president, you do not answer questions about your underwear. I am very proud of you for that. And number two...
cut it out. Let's say hello to Lorraine from West Orange.
Hi, Bob. This is Lorraine from West Orange. I'm a first-time caller. My husband and I and my family are great admirers of you, Rush, and Jay Diamond.
Yeah, that's it. Make sure you mention everybody else. Why don't you throw in everybody else? I mean,
well,
why do you have to do that? I do the Bob Grant show. I've always done the Bob Grant. Why do you have to throw in other people? Would you tell me?
Well, anyway, we admire
I mean, why? Tell me, what is it that motivates people like you to do that?
I listen to the station all day.
What is it that motivates you to do that? I want to know.
Well,
what am I, part of a trio now?
Well,
I'm part of a trio,
huh? I'm glad that someone gives us the freedom of speech so we can listen to
I don't give you the freedom of speech.
Conservative view.
I don't give you the freedom of speech.
Well,
I don't give it to you. The United States Constitution gives it to you.
Well, I'm glad I have this opportunity to express it.
You have an opportunity to be heard by millions of people because we've got the greatest program director in the history of radio by the name of John Manelli, who is a stand-up guy. John Manelli, who is not easily intimidated. He's not intimidated like so many other putrid program directors I've had the misfortune to work with. So if you want to thank anybody, thank him.
And I do.
All right. But the prospects for Republican gains are very good. There are some people who are saying that actually, Ben Wattenberg, I believe, said it in a column that the GOP gains in November could help save Slick Willie. And what he means by that is if the Republicans take at least one house, the Senate or the House of Representatives, or even both, then Slick Willie could campaign against them for the next 2 years and blame them for all of his mistakes. Right now, he really can't. It just doesn't wash. He tries to insult the intelligence of the American people by blaming them for the defeat of his crime bill. And the American people know that the Republicans alone don't have enough votes in the House of Representatives to defeat the crime bill. They had to have 58 votes from Democrats to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob, I'd like to send a salute to the sfaccimm if possible.
Please.
Mario, ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern, ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern, Howard Stern, ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern, Howard Stern, ba-ba-booey, ba-ba-booey, Howard Stern, Howard Stern.
You know, you're a real sick little jerk. You know that, don't you? You're a real sickie. To go doing that and doing that and doing that. What does Stern care about you? Sick people out there. They're sick. Maybe that's why the ratings of the Bob Grant Show are so huge, because there are so many sick people. Not that all of you are sick, but so many of you who do call and get through are. Unfortunately, it doesn't cost me anything, but can you imagine that jerk spending all that time on the phone, waiting to get on, and then he pulls that crap? However, let's deal with the facts so that we don't have to speculate. And the facts are these, just some of them anyway, that the Vince Foster office. Hello?
Yes.
What the heck was that?
No, it was a mistake.
The Vince Foster office safe was rifled by Mr. Nussbaum. Mr. Nussbaum had no right to do that. He did it because Slick Hillary, the slippery Hillary, told him to do that. And the stuff he took out of the office was given by direction of Slippery Hillary to her chief of staff, Ms. Williams. Also, they lied. The Clintons lied and said that the FBI had sealed off the room and was in charge. Not so. The FBI was not even given access. There are so many lies. The fact that Bernard Nussbaum, then the White House counsel, distributed the documents. The whole truth, though, is that Nussbaum gave a file marked Whitewater to Williams, who then had it stored on the third floor of the White House residence. 5 days later, the papers were transferred to the Clintons' personal attorney. They eventually reached special counsel Fisk, but not voluntarily. Why all these lies? Also, the expert opinion that I've talked to anyway is convinced that Vince Foster did not take his life in Marcy Park, but committed suicide elsewhere. The theory being that Slick Willie, or somebody close to Slick Willie, said, we can't have his body found here. Take it out somewhere. Let him be found elsewhere. Someday the American people will get the whole truth. I do believe that the truth will come out. Eventually it will all come out. Hopefully it will come out before the election, not after. And certainly, hopefully, it will come out before the 1996 election to put the final nail in Slick Willie's political coffin. Who voted against the so-called crime bill.
Yes.
Were not the enemies, but the heroes.
Yes.
And Bill Clinton has such a low believability rating. The latest polls indicate that the American people do not believe him, that they don't trust him. He can rant and rave all he wants. I don't think it's going to work. I'm more concerned that Rudy Giuliani would see fit to be seen with him, travel to the state of Minnesota to share the platform with him. That disturbs me more than what Slick Willie is doing, because we know where Slick Willie is coming from. We know what a lowlife he is.
Yeah, but with respect to Giuliani, that's a little shocking. Maybe he could call him up and tell him this or that, but to go with him, I think that was astounding.
And the day before, he was seen with Evita Perón, now known as Hillary. He was seen with her. Yep.
Love it.
Okay, Richie. Thank
you.
Thank you.
That's what the other side.
Well, I think it's a good point. I'm really not surprised at anything that sleazebag, the sfaccimm, would do. I'm really not. But I must tell you, I did retch a little bit when I realized that he was using these victims to campaign for him. He wants his ego, his hubris demands a fourth term. We must deny him that fourth term. We must deny him.
Well, I think I'd like to see the ad with the other people in it. It might be just a fantasy, but it would be great.
Thank you.
I also think we should all pray for Rudy. He apparently has a rush of something to the brain. He's stunad, following around.
Well, you know, maybe Mike Long was right after all. Mike Long of the Conservative Party. Maybe Mike was right. But if he's not going to dance with the girl that he brought, or the guy who brought him, or whatever, however it goes, if he's not going to do that, he's going to be a one-termer.
Good.
No, he'll be a one-termer because he apparently hasn't learned the lesson George Bush should have learned, and that is any Republican who's going to kiss the tush of the Democrats is not going to get kissed in kind. They'll get kicked in kind.
Exactly.
You see, that's the thing I could never understand, why Republicans like Rudy or George Bush have that weakness about them where they want to curry favor with the Democrats. The Democrats never worry about currying favor with the Republicans. Never.
Bob, we received a Fresh Air Child this summer. Do you know what that is? The inner city children in the cities come to the suburbs and they...
Oh, yes.
Okay, my family received a Fresh Air Child, and the family and the friends and the neighbors, we all pitched in to... And, at the end of the trip, we couldn't hardly even get a thank you. And these are the inner city children on welfare, and this is, it was honestly expected that we entertain her. I took her to an amusement park, out to dinner, the movies. You can barely get a thank you out of these kids, and this is what we're doing. We're making these kids happen.
Well, I'm not surprised, because the more you cater to these leeches and waifs of leeches, the more they expect. The funny thing about human nature, the more you give people, the more they want and the less they respect you. Don't you know that?
Yes, and I'm very upset about it. My feelings were hurt that I've done all this, and I didn't even I had to ask for a thank you. And I thought I should have just got a hug and a thank you very much, and that would have been enough, but I had to ask.
Well, Trish, if you've learned your lesson, then she did you a favor.
That's true. We're not going to ask her back.
Well, don't ask anybody back. Don't be part of this stupid program.
Well, thank you. I'm not.
The most efficient methods of transferring money from tourists, from dumb schmuck tourists, to sleazy, crooked, street-smart dealers, has been ruled a legitimate game. She says, this judge, that's right, she says, played fairly, skill rather than chance is the material component of three-card Monte. Now, who do you suppose said that? Manhattan Criminal Court Judge Cheryl Parker. Cheryl Parker is black. I submit to you that because the dealers are primarily black, that is why she ruled that way. I submit that. I say it. Let other people think it and not say it. I dare say it. Now, if three-card Monte isn't a game of chance, then it's not punishable as an unlawful gambling activity. That's a quote, unlawful gambling activity. Though dealers can still successfully be prosecuted for other laws they might break. And in the game played in Times Square and other places thick with out-of-towners, a dealer uses three cards, two red and one black. Players bet they can keep track of the designated card, pick it out face down after the dealer conducts a quick shuffle. Guess what? Cops who patrol Times Square agree with this so-called judge, this Parker broad. They agree it's not a game of chance because they say the player's chances of winning are zero. But nobody's going to challenge Cheryl Parker. She got her job because she passed the necessary requisites, and you know what they are.
Hello, Bob. In Monday's New York Daily News, there was an article, it wasn't on page 2 or 3, it was further back, where Governor Mario Cuomo said that he supports the crime bill as is with the death penalty provisions in it. When asked if this was a contradiction on what he said in the past, he said, no, because I don't have any control over whether or not the federal government has a death penalty. I think that's pretty disingenuous. He may not have a say. He's not a member of Congress. But obviously, if he really were a man of conviction, he wouldn't advocate any bill that expanded the death penalty.
I pointed this out on that particular day, and I'm delighted that I wasn't the only one who noticed that once again the sfaccimm exposes himself for the duplicitous, fake, phony, two-bit fraud he is. Why, why is it more people can't see this mountain of hubris for what he is?
He's amazing, Bob. Can I salute him?
Absolutely.
Mario Ozendame disapproval sfaccimm.
And he is.
Let's, Bob. Mario has worked in public service so long.
Service?
Really,
Public self-aggrandizement.
True. I was trying to be kind. But, he really needs a vacation, and I think we have to give him one starting January.
Well, he won't have any problem making money. He'll just go ahead continuing doing what he was doing all the time he was governor, and that is running around the country making huge fees speaking.
Well, at least he won't be able to affect.
And the reason he got huge fees is he is an actor, a very good performer.
He's an excellent actor.
He's been acting as long as I've known him. Thank you very much. Excuse me.
Okay. You're saying that you wish it were all over and you wish that a big meteor would come and hit this earth. That will not happen.
I know it won't.
But Judgment Day is coming, and the Lord will be here before you know it. And
really?
And, the problem is...
Wait a minute. Before I know it, what does that mean? You use the phrase, the Lord will be here before you know it. What does that mean?
What that means...
The phrase, before you know it, what does that mean?
That means that it's going to be very, very soon.
Well, can you give me a time frame next week, a week from Thursday?
Well, I personally believe, not a nut or a kook, but personally I believe, according everything from the Bible points to September 1994. And
September, can you give me a date?
No, because the Bible says...
All right, it'll be September 1994. That's next month.
I believe that, yes. But,
well, great. Peachy keen. Now I've got something to look forward to.
Now, wait. There are some people who believe it'll be before the year 2000, but if you had...
now you're hedging already.
No, I'm not hedging.
Okay, so...
I'm saying that on that
I'm just trying to learn. Wait a minute. Don't be defensive. I'm just trying to learn. And in the process, I may expose you for even the dullards out there for what you are, a well-meaning crackpot. But anyway, Rita, where is the Lord going to show up? Where is he going to be?
Every eye shall see him, every knee shall bow, and every spiritual ear will be opened. And they will all of a sudden know that it's Jesus Christ.
Oh, he's going to be on CNN? Is that, you said every eye shall see him. How are we going to...
No, it's nothing that the man has devised. It's no television. It's a special appointment. God will make
we're all going to see him. Every eye shall see him.
Every eye shall see him.
Every knee shall bend. What about people who have arthritis?
Bow, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And they'll go, and it says men's hearts...
They'll go what?
Men's hearts will fail them.
Men's heart will fail them?
For fear, those who are not saved. Now, this is what I wanted to say to you. Please listen.
This is ba-ba-ba-boom time, ladies and gentlemen. Ba-ba-boom time. Yes.
Bobby, I've been praying for you for such a long time.
No wonder I've been having bad luck. Okay.
I've been praying for you for 18 years. Because I ran into you in...
By the way, where are you from?
Latvia. I said Latvia. I was born in Riga.
In Riga? How did you get out of Latvia?
My sister and I, Vida and I'm Rita, we met you, we spoke with you.
Stop talking about having met me as though that was the only important thing in your life, and probably it was. At any rate, how did you escape Latvia?
When did we escape? In 44.
In 44? With World War II raging? How did you get out of there?
Well, the Germans somehow helped us. We got on a boat.
The Germans helped you?
Yes, and then we got on a boat.
Somehow helped you?
Yes. We got on a boat, and I was a little...
Oh, wait a minute. In 1944, the Germans were retreating from Riga as the Red Army was moving in.
Yes, they took us...
What were you, concubines of the Panzers? Were you friendly with General von Stuffel?
I don't know any of that. I was a little girl. I was just practically a baby. And we came to Germany, and from there God was merciful, got us over in this country. I'm very happy that I'm here. We worked hard. I did not know the language.
Okay, so let's get to the important stuff.
Yes.
The Lord is coming in September.
September. That's what I believe.
And every knee shall bend except for those who have arthritis.
You're mocking and it says God will not be mocked.
Well, I'm not mocking God. God has nothing to do with your idiocy. I'm not mocking God at all.
This is what the Bible says. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord when he comes. And God, be not deceived. It says God is not mocked. Whatever a man...
No wonder guys like Jimmy Swaggart...
That shall you also reap. No, Jimmy Swaggart is...
no wonder why all these fake, phony preachers make a lot of money, because there are a lot of suckers out there like you.
They might not be saved.
Saved? Saved from what? What is there to be saved from?
From wrath, the wrath of God.
Wait a minute, the wrath of God, why should God be mad on us?
Well,
what did we do?
Look, according to, from God's point of view, there are only two groups of people.
Wait a minute, what do you mean God's point of view?
From his point of view, there's only two groups of people.
What is it? Does he write for Time magazine? How do you know what he thinks?
Because I read my Bible.
I see. The Bible. Who wrote the Bible?
God
wrote the Bible?
No, God inspired the Spirit.
God inspired the Bible?
No. God, it was divinely inspired by men who were saved.
How do we know
whom God gave...
How do we know that they were inspired by God? How do we know that they were divinely inspired?
The Bible is never wrong. You compare Scripture to Scripture. But please don't interrupt me again. What I want to say is that you will stand... Yesterday you mentioned to John, you said that you wish that your mom aborted you. Well, that's a terrible thing.
Well, I was being somewhat facetious. See, trouble with people like no sense of humor. No sense of humor. You take everything...
I have a sense of humor, but you don't even know me. I'm going to come to the Reo Diner and we'll laugh.
Oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
My sister and I, we saw you...
What do you work as a double team? You and your sister, what do you work together?
No, she lives in Florida, but she's visiting me, and that's what gave me this race to tell you. She said that she's also...
Bob, I just want to say that to all the Republicans whose hearts are pounding, calm down, there's hope. I come to bring more hope. Giuliani is much more than we thought we were voting for. This guy, when he was a prosecutor, he stepped on toes, he kissed people's butts, he did whatever it took to get the job done. And he was very successful. I know that I had the pleasure of speaking to the man for 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours? Why a 3.5-hour conversation? Did he have a lull? Was it a dull day for him? Why would he spend 3.5 hours with you?
Okay, I'll tell you why. I'm a quadriplegic and I'm homebound. And a friend of mine...
And he would spend 3.5 hours with you?
Let me finish.
I find that difficult to believe.
Well, let me finish and you'll believe me. A friend of mine who is a computer genius, he come up with a program that he was able to tap into any computers. And this was before Giuliani was elected. And Giuliani was very interested in this program, and this guy met with my friend who's this computer genius. Giuliani met with him, and he was dropping off computer material to me.
You know, this is getting nerve-wracking.
Well, I'm telling you the circumstances, how it...
What was he playing, Nintendo?
Because I'm disabled, he did my friend a favor. That was the only reason.
He spent 3.5 hours with you?
And he spent
you know, you may be a quadriplegic.
From 8 o'clock...
But I can't imagine Rudy spending 3.5 hours.
8 o'clock in the evening till 11:30 at night. And if there's any way...
Okay, so you did nothing but have an intense. Did nothing but have an intense discussion, and you interrogated him on his political
politics in general and his philosophy.
I see, and he poured out his heart to you.
No, he just told me that sometimes when, from the conversation, this is how I perceived him to be as a person. In other words, he would do whatever it takes. If he was elected...
In other words, that's justified. The ends justify the means.
No, he would be... He knows that it's not practical to take all the pork out. So what you do is in order to get...
Why are you calling as an apologist for Rudy Giuliani?
I'm just trying to let people know that their concern is...
Our concern is what is going on, not what you imagine he has in mind. Thank you, Tom. WABC.
Well, first of all, I wasn't going to say this first, but I just wanted to answer what you were talking about with the guy. Very honestly, Giuliani, what he did was he did what he chose to do. See, why do you wear gray pants instead of blue? Why do I wear...
Look. Whatever his, you are going to finish. I'm not cutting you off, but I am inserting this comment.
All right.
Whatever his motive, he is a public office holder, and public office holders have to expect they're going to get criticism.
All right, this is understandable. I mean, everything that anyone can... Let me tell you something, Mr. Grant. All you have to do is walk out your door and look at your staff, and if you want to find something wrong with something that they do within the course of a week, you can rest assured that you find it. However, if someone were to ask you what it is about this person that you generally think, are they good workers or not, you would have a direct opinion.
What a totally irrelevant comment.
No, it's not irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is don't harp on what he did, because the man is a decent man, and he did what he chose to do, just like you do what you choose to do.
You're getting to be a banal bore.
Fine. I'm calling you about the other guy that called that said he thought you were a hypocrite. I was telling the guy that picked up the phone, I think 50% of you, I think you're not such a nice guy. The other 50%, I agree with a lot of what you say. I have a whole lot of ideas that are very similar to yours. I'm just saying I think you should have a little more regard for people's feelings. That paraplegic, for one, as well as anyone in general. And I can tell you something. A friend of mine who had a very close pet, apparently the pet passed away, and all this friend of mine could keep saying was...
You mean the pet died?
Yes.
When you say passed away, you mean he died. The pet died.
The pet died. Is that how you choose to say it?
Well, if you say passed away, then it's not so bad, right?
All right.
Thank you, Pollyanna. Thank you. On WABC, let's take it.
For once, I think he feels as though that Sick Willie might have did the right thing, even though I don't...
Well, in reversing the 28-year-old policy, he did, but... They could have insured these people stopping if they... look how stupid it is. These people are in boats. A Coast Guard vessel comes alongside. How many do you have? 106.
All right.
And the guy said, okay, give him, what did I say, 76? I said 76. Throw him 76 life jackets. They gave him 76 life jackets.
Hey, Bob, the last time that this Mariel boat invasion cost the American taxpayers $8 billion.
At least. Now, don't forget the cost in crime, because about 25,000 of those individuals, at least, minimum, were a bunch of maniac criminals that Castro should have executed.
Okay, Bob, I just want you to let you know, even though I don't agree with the mayor, Mayor Giuliani is never rude.
George, let me tell you, you're a square shooter, and I appreciate your call.
Thank you, Bob.
Of commentators in the country, he is emerging as the best.
Oh, I just love him. I wish he'd run for something. Well, maybe.
No. Why do you people always do that?
Yeah, I know,
once they run for something, it's over.
Oh, I know.
It's over, so stop it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bob.
People always say, run for something, like to me. Run for something. This guy, run. Once you run for something, then you lose it. Because you say, gee, I got to get elected, and the only way I can get elected is not to offend anybody. And if you try to avoid offending anybody, you really don't accomplish anything. Johnny.
So, and then today, to show you how this could be happening again, today is, in today's Wall Street Journal, is an article about the city of Indianapolis and how there's a black leader named...
His name is probably really Willie Smith.
Yeah.
But he calls himself something like Majoa Ajabu.
That's it. You have
Ajabu, boo.
That's it. It sounds comical, but he's a leader of a Black Panther militia.
Yeah, and I believe he spells his name with two M's. Majoa, Mmoja, something like that.
Well, before he went to prison, he wrote his name with just signing an X. But anyway, he's a leader of a Black Panther militia, and they're recruiting young blacks and training them in the use of firearms. And he says if the government is not responsive to the needs of blacks by January 1st, they're going to start shooting, and the war is going to start.
Well, why don't they? So that why don't we get it over with, for heaven's sake, and mow this skunk down? Listen, does he say specifically what they want?
I don't have the article in front of me, so I don't want to misspeak, but I have a feeling...
I asked that question rhetorically, pal. They don't spell out specifically what they want.
Oh, what?
You know what they want? They want to be able to look in the mirror and see a different face looking back at them. You know, I'm sick and tired of catering to people who, because they hate what they are, take it out on the rest of us.
But I have a feeling that when the poverty funds, if they go through with this crime bill, that he would be the type of person that would receive large sums of money.
You know, you're focusing on something that really is secondary. What is primary is the threat that this skunk is making. That's what's primary. And yet you're looking at the other thing. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. Have a good...
WABC, here's Bill checking in.
Bob?
Yes?
I'm a white guy married to a black woman for about 11 years. And a couple callers back, you made one of your typically ignorant comments where you said that a white woman's attraction for a black man is put in the category of some weird attraction.
Well, look.
I mean...
No, wait a minute. You weren't listening, you jerk. You weren't listening.
Well,
You weren't listening.
Boy.
You weren't listening. I quoted this person as saying she only went out with him because she didn't want to appear racist.
And in response to the fellow's comment that white people shouldn't date black people, you said, well, you know...
No, I also said if that's what they want to do...
And you put... No, Bob, you should...
What are you so defensive about? What are you so defensive about?
I'm not...
Who invited you to call, Bill? I mean, did I say, hey, Bill out there in East Orange, explain yourself? I don't care what you do in your own personal life.
Explain your ignorance, that's all.
No, you're the one who's ignorant. You're the one who's ignorant because you can't understand the point that I'm making. Hey, you live in East Orange, right? You'll get what's coming to you if you last long enough, pal. Linda...
But just cut these social programs because they already exist anyway. I mean, you don't need more of them. And so... it's why keep pouring in more money, is what I can understand. But the Republican Party, in my opinion, is split between the moderates and the conservatives. And it seems like the conservatives will stay, you know, they won't vote. They'll vote the same way. They wouldn't, like Henry Hyde, he wouldn't vote for the bill, no matter what, unless all the programs were cut out. So that's the moderate Republicans seem to change. You know, they got some concessions, but it was still... in a way, a loss for the Republicans, but in a way, the victory, because I think the conservative Republicans would do better off, you know, down the road.
On WABC, people can call, and we have stream of consciousness. It's all right. It's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to be totally lucid. James, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Glenn, I haven't spoke to you around 10 years. I've been a listener off and on, but I was shaving in the shower today, earlier at night. You mentioned, discussing the crime bill, and what my attention was the Republican Party, the grievance they have with the bill, there was a lot of pork, and the thing that bothers me is I'm trying to find out where were these same people under the Reagan era when we spent $100 billion for the B-1 bomber, 100 B-1 bombers at $1 billion each, and they don't fly and they sit on the ground?
Well, when a person voted for the B-1 bomber, he was voting for the B-1 bomber because we were still in the Cold War, and we definitely needed to upgrade the B-52, which had become very ancient. To compare voting for the B-1 bomber with voting for all these pork features in a crime bill is absurd. There is no comparison. I mean, where do all these social programs fit into a so-called crime bill? And if they were so essential, they'd still be there. But thanks to the Republicans, they were taken out. James, I have a favor to ask of you, a very small favor. I'm sure it'll come easy to you. Make it another 10 years, will you, you schmuck?
Not, though. I'm 85
You're not,
years old.
you just sound like one. Okay.
I'm 85 years old, and I think I have all my marbles.
You know, you're a long-winded pain in the neck and a bore, and you've hardly even been on.
Well, can I continue or not? I'll be glad to hang up if you want me to. Otherwise, I'll continue.
Against my better judgment, you could stay on.
Fine. When talking about Clinton, taking away all the personalities and the bashing that's done about him, I'd like to ask you if two things. Is the economy better than it was under Bush?
No.
Two, it's not?
No.
Every expert, from the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and Business Week, will tell
you asked me. You asked me my opinion, right? You asked me my opinion. You didn't ask the Wall Street Journal. You didn't ask the New York Times. You asked me my opinion. I told you no.
Can you tell me why?
Why? Because taxes are higher. Whenever taxes are higher, things get worse.
But it did not get worse, Bob.
I'm telling you. First of all, the economy, as you put it, is not a static entity. The economy is a very dynamic thing, and it changes from day to day. And I'm saying, all right, okay, here's a guy asked me my opinion. I tell him, I give him my opinion. He doesn't want to accept it, so why did he bother asking me? Carl, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hi, Bob. The other day I heard you make a comment that you wish that the people coming over in boats from Cuba would drown. Do you think that's a little extreme?
My comment was we ought to stop picking them up. If we stop picking them up, they'll stop coming over. Doesn't that make sense? Isn't that logical? And I don't really care if they drown. How does that grab you? I really don't care if they drown. I don't care if they drown. I'm sorry. I don't care if they drown. What do you want me to do? Be a fake, phony fraud and say, gee, I care? I don't. Why does the United States have to pick up everybody and anybody? They get in a raft and they come out. Why?
Said before that Congressman, you were against term limitations, and you feel that they should run their and they get defeated. And when they're defeated, then they should return home. My question is, can you name one congressman that left the Beltway? They left their congressional job and became lobbyists. The last group have left. Every one of them has a job as a lobbyist.
Everyone?
Everyone. The last 6 or 7 are all staying in Washington as double dippers. And how can you run against an incumbent who has $40,000, $50,000?
Hey, look, you people make me laugh. You really make me laugh, except I'm not laughing. I still don't like the concept of term limitation. I don't like the concept.
How can you...
Bob Nolly dropped dead, for crying out loud, these guys.